Yes, welcome everyone to this session of the Generation Africa members group. For those who are joining in for the first time, we usually have 6 sessions throughout the year. So the Generation Africa members group is a town hall where different organizations meet to discuss on youth issues so that we can see how can we improve the delivery of our interventions to the youth. We've had different discussions. This year, we started off with a youth speak where, different youth were able to share their challenges with us. So it is our hope that through this, we'll continue improving, we'll continue being responsive and updating our solutions and how we deliver, the interventions to the youth. I am Henry Lagat, Associate Partnerships Officer for Generation Africa, and your hosts. Briefly, before I introduce the team that will be, guiding us today as we discuss the issues on youth. But before we go on, I'd like to invite Dixon Naftali, who is our head, just to give some opening remarks, and then we will proceed. Welcome, Dixon.
Thanks, Henry. I was not ready with any opening remarks today, but just to say that welcome everybody on the call. And I'm excited equally, just like everybody else, to be part of this and listen in and discuss this critical topic of we female-led agripreneurs. I like to hear how we can ensure that the gender aspect of this agripreneurship journey is taken into consideration so that we don't miss out on any important aspect. Thanks, and I'll hand back to you.
Thank you, Dixon. So that it just doesn't seem, the department is full of gentlemen and we want to tackle youth issues, rather female issues. We are all inclusive. And I'd like at this point to invite Amanda to give us, we have an extremely interesting lineup of young agripreneurs and a practitioner who are going to talk to us on this. So Amanda, over to you for the introduction.
Thank you, Henry. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody see me? Yeah, my name is Amanda Namai. I'm Go-Getters lead here at Generation Africa. And today we're looking at how we can better empower our female youth agripreneurs. And since this is a team and collaborative effort, we put together an accomplished lineup, if I do say so myself, of leading ladies who have overcome great obstacles in their professional journey. We do have agripreneurs and we have young professionals, and we also have an accomplished scientist and researcher. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the co-moderator of this session. She is a very well decorated lady from Benin, and she is none other than Dr. Marietta. She will tell us herself how to pronounce the second name. I will not attempt to do so. But Marietta is an agricultural scientist. She has a PhD in bioproduction with a focus on plant production. She works part-time with the Beninese think tank, Civic Academic for African Future, whose objective is to do research with urgent topics and problems faced in agriculture, climate, and the environment. So in addition to that, Dr. Marietta is also the founder of AgroHikari, and she believes that the development of agriculture in Africa will pass through the involvement of local producers in the different research activities in our universities. And this is a good twist to it, because more often than not, we have agripreneurs. And so today we have a scientist and a researcher on board. And in addition to that, she creates this link through her blog and social media platforms to allow the new generation to better understand ancestral techniques and give them a scientific explanation. And hence, AgroHikari aims to highlight the research findings and innovative solutions in the agricultural field, linking researchers and people beyond generations. Dr. Marietta, I pass the baton over to you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for the introduction. As you say, my name is Marietta, and the second name is pronounced Gordogu. Don't worry, like a lot of people, fail to pronounce my name. I'm an agricultural scientist, and today happy to join this session as a moderator. And as you said, today we'll be discussing about ways in which we can support young female agripreneurs in their journey and strengthen their businesses, the existing challenges. As you said, I've created like AgroHikari. AgroHikari, that is actually a blog. And we just started like 1 year ago. And as I'm a woman, I feel like very concerned with women issues, and we don't have we don't have much women in agriculture because we face like a lot of challenges, like from the limited access to land to male domination, and that's a big issue for us. So like at AgroHikari too, we try to we are thinking about how to help our other sisters that want to, practice agriculture. And I think this year in March, we organized the AgroHikari Challenge. And the AgroHikari Challenge is a challenge for only women. And we invite them to present what they are doing as activity. And with some sponsor, we found, we give some fundings to them. It's nothing very big, but that was our way to try to support them and give them more strength to continue what they are doing, because agriculture is not easy, it's very tough. And today to discuss with about this subject, I have other speakers that two ladies from the Go-Getters representative from Egypt and Mauritius, Miss El Gabri and Yakmila Chu. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. And another one is from Value for Her, Evelyn Obiero. That's a practitioner who will share a practitioner perspective of the issue and gives practical solution to the challenges that our speakers will have raised. And I think we will hear about their stories, their success and the challenges from, let's start from Miss El Gabri.
Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a good day. Welcome from Cairo, Egypt. My name is Hamis El Gabri. I'm one of the founding team and the product development and innovation manager at Muzara.
Hamis, you muted yourself.
Sorry, my network. Sorry, the network is kind of unstable. Muzara is an Arabic word for the word farmer. So our scope is working with the small holding farmers and giving them access to finance, access to market, and also agronomy and technical support on ground and on call also, and on-time payments. So we're providing our service to the small farmers through a digital app, and also we're connecting them with the off-takers, which means the food processors, the food exporters, and also the food processing exporter. They have their own platform in the form of an app, an online app. So Muzara is 1.5-year-old startup with the great expansion and potential. Currently, we've been working with more than 4,000 farmers in a 1.5 years, of course. And we have around 1,000 contracted farmers and other 3,000 or 3,500 taking other services like the agronomy support and technical support and embedded financing. What Muzara is trying to do is to build a 360 platform around the small farmers in order to be the go-to place for the small farmers in Egypt. A small farmer is kind of disconnected from the outer world, so they're marginalized in a way, they're unbanked, so we cannot have a transaction history for them. In order for them to get loans from the bank, you need to have a background for their income, their expenses, etc. And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to be the banking side for the authorization or the guaranteeing side for the small farmers in Egypt. Of course, there is like a lot of challenges we're facing. Me as a female entrepreneur and also at the startup and in a whole, we're working in a very dynamic market. It's very, very old and rooted. So Egypt is 7,000 years of civilization, and agriculture is as ancient as this civilization, of course. And like we have different informalities in the sector. So the pricing is kind of challenging and up and down because we're seeing all the economic situation that's happening right now. For us to provide service for the small farmer, we need to have guarantees and loan guarantees. And it's not easy to be operating in different governorates. So we're operating in 12 governorates in Egypt, and Egypt is around 27 governorates. So we're almost covering half Egypt in those 1.5 years. And it have been too many operations on ground. The expansion for our team is huge. We're around 100 people right now in the staff. And this is for a startup is not easy. So of course, we're having the different types of managing and difficulties, let's say. And as a female right now, I'm also responsible for building an experimental land for us. Experimental when it comes to trying new varieties that's more climate resilient and adaptive, trying biopesticides or biofertilizer in order to move to more sustainable practice and inputs rather than the current situation. And for Muzara and for me to be able to develop this experimentational land, which is around 200 acres, we face challenges. I face challenges when it comes to managing or like directing, let's say, a team consists of 10 agriculture engineers and 28 labor or workers, and they're all male, of course, because the agriculture sector, when it comes to labor and engineers or agronomists, it's mostly dominated by men. So in the first, you will face this kind of, let's say, rejection or not going so easy with them. But then when you establish a rapport with them, they will listen to you, they will understand, because we as the female, we have an empathetic, it's in us, it's in our own DNA. We kind of do empathize more, or like we use our emotions in our favor, and we understand the situation, and we try to get people involved. So in a way, they will, of course, respect you, and of course, try to work with you, not work against you, and not giving you hard time. I have a question. Should I answer questions in the middle, or like let's have it after the presentation or after the? Okay, I think I will continue, and then I will look at the chat. Okay. Reflecting back to the challenges female in agribusiness are facing, there is the challenges in the startup itself and the ecosystem itself, in working with an industry that's dominated mostly by men, but also there is getting the fund. So because I'm not the only founder, it was not that challenging for us to get fund, because the startup has like a proven track record that's interesting and attractive for investors. But what I see from the industry itself is like, if there is a solo female leader or founder, or even two females, it's going to be harder for them to get this finance or investment. One side because maybe investors will look at it as like unbalanced founding team, while they will not look at it at the same time if there is two male. And the other way is also investors are mostly also men. So I believe that having more female investors and more female participating in the VCs and the angel investment sector will enable more female to be more funded, to be more looked at as competent human being, not being labeled as less economically, I don't know, like, and it's like not controlling the whole startup or like the business. We can do this, we're competent and we can do this. And an opportunity, this is an opportunity for us to showcase our success in order to be a role model for others. And it's important because more female in leader positions will encourage more female to take the step forward and be encouraged to work on their own idea and not step back and from the fight. And let's call it a fight also, because it's a business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amis, for sharing your experience. Actually, I think the challenges are the same like everywhere. As when I hear you, I think when they ask me about challenges, foundings, and we hope we have more women investors to have like more fund for our activities. And I also realized that you people also link research to improve, the yield and the income of the farmers. That's great, because actually now that is like my leitmotiv. Like, we cannot just continue doing what people were doing like 50 or 100 years ago. We have to, find some innovative ways to increase our income. Thank you so much.
Exactly.
And yeah. I think I now ask Yasmila to share with us her experience.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Yugmila from Mauritius. I'm Yugmila Chunya from Mauritius. And I am a quarantine officer working at the Ministry of Agriculture. Transparent implementation of plant health policies, regulation to facilitate trade, especially of agricultural commodities. So I'm currently, like I said, I'm posted at the National Plant Protection Office, and what I'm doing is I'm just implementing the laws in order to protect my country from pests and diseases, which is one of the main causes of food loss, not only in Mauritius, but in Africa and around the world, in the leading countries where we grow most of our food crops. So this is what I'm doing, and we do it by issuing permits and then clearance, inspection of goods, and not only that, so I'm working in the field also at the borders to see if there is any interception of pests and diseases which can affect the country agricultural economy. So one of the technological advancement which we had, so earlier we were only on manual, like issuing manual permits and clearances, but now we've shifted to everything is computerized, transparent. It's so by this, I would say that, yeah, but in the sector I'm working, import and export, we have very less women. So these are challenges that my particular interest remains like empowering women to set up their businesses in terms of import and export of agricultural goods, particularly related to like phytosanitary procedures and trade facilitation, which is my field of expert, but I'm also working with an organization of women in science back home. So, I mean, which is a global organization. It is present in many countries. So what we do, beside my work I'm doing, so we are empowering youth and women so that like help them overcome barriers, like barriers remain for women in agriculture remain domestic responsibilities, traveling difficulties, financial, discriminatory social norms, lack of information. So for lack of like this barrier, especially lack of information and about opportunities available. I'm particularly working on training, awareness, and networking events. So we go in the field, we go in the villages, or we can organize meetings almost everywhere when needed. So what I'm particularly doing is access to information. We have a group like of 15 women recently who have enrolled. So they are keen to start businesses to import. I mean, you know, I know that we have to produce locally to be self-sufficient, but we do have certain, because we are a tropical, I'm from a tropical country, and we know that we cannot grow some of the crops, some of the goods we don't actually have, but we need. So we have a group of 15 women who are keen to start by, lychee, pineapples, and some of the other food crops to UK, to France, and to neighboring countries. So yeah, this is the two events, two of the criteria I'm working on to empower those women. I'm also the country coordinator for the Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network. I'm the country coordinator, and we have like 60 to 70 members. We are particularly empowering youth and women to mitigate the challenges of climate change related to agriculture. So yeah, we have been doing not only awareness, but teaching school kids how to grow the crops. We have members from 18 to 35 years old, and I think, yeah, we've had for the, like 2 years ago, we were facing the challenges of COVID, but now everything is on the right track. So I think that we have to see what are the barriers, because, you know, I believe also in to training, because we have to also think about how to approach, because some women will say that, yes, I'm interested, but we have those issues which, you know, prevent them from, they have been trained, but they cannot start. So we have to help them from scratch, I would say, from start to finish, until, you know, they are, we can believe that they are successful. So yeah, I think this is what I'm doing back home, and I will be glad to stay connected with all of you, to learn from you, and then to share my experiences in the long run. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yasmila. We'll be happy to work together with you guys, because I can see that we all like work on the access to the information for the women, because like the lack of information doesn't make things easier. And we also need more women in all aspects of agricultural value chain, so that they are more empowered. They know how things are going and what to do from 1 to 10 to get like a better like empowerment of women. And like having role models like you ladies will be also good for them. So like make them join this kind of session, will, you know, give them more energy to to fight for themselves and to and to come together to make like greater things. Thank you so much for your input. Yeah, I think now we'll ask Evelyn Okiro, can you share with us your, as a practitioner, which practical solution can you propose to the challenges that we actually raised here?
Thank you very much, Marietta. Just confirming that my microphone is well.
Yeah, perfect.
Great. Yeah, so I'm Evelyn Obiero. I'm an associate program officer at AGRA. I'm based in Nairobi. My work revolves around supporting integration of gender at AGRA within AGRA's work streams, but also supporting a very robust and interesting initiative called Value for Her, which I will share with you just in a short while. And I've been given around 10 minutes, if I'm not wrong, to talk through that. Today, I am so excited to join this conversation. Why am I so excited about joining this conversation that is discussing about supporting women entrepreneurs on ways to advance or progress or grow their agribusinesses? One of those things that makes me excited is that the young women agripreneurs are actually the face of agripreneurship currently and even in the future. And the young population are actually, to me, an asset, and to many, it's an asset, especially within the continent. Uh, World Bank projects their population to actually increase or double in the next, by 2050. So again, looking at that population as a key asset that can actually bring an amazing change within the food system. But then I'm also looking at them as young and innovative because, I mean, youth and innovation, to me, those are like two things that you can't separate, and the energy. So I'm just looking at harnessing this potential, the assets into the food system. I want to believe that if this team are well supported, then Africa is going to be a very happy place to be in. Maybe my layman's science would say that peace and food are probably directly correlated. And to the opposite of that, maybe hunger and conflict are also directly correlated to each other. And so if we can harness all these people into the food security into the food system, supporting them well, then I believe Africa will be a very happy and peaceful place to really be. I would call it like a wow place really to stay on, and everyone would be interested and excited visiting Africa. So we must again appreciate that before we reach there or before we even get there, there's several challenges that we will have to support, overcome. And every stakeholders, including the young women themselves as agri-entrepreneurs, have to make kind of a great step towards changing the narrative, towards helping the food system really improve within the continent. Normally, the challenges or the barriers that have been mentioned to affect young women agripreneurs are actually categorized into two broadly. The first one is normally around themselves as an individual, around access, opportunity, and also risks. Look at access to inputs, for example, access to market, access to finance that Marietta Hamisi was mentioning, and I think Yakmila has also attributed to it. Access to knowledge. I mean, there is just differential challenges or barriers around these key resources for women agripreneurs, especially young women agripreneurs, to really be able to operate in an optimum level. But then besides that, there is also the ecosystem level challenges, looking at the market actors. How are they prepared to really support or respond to the young women entrepreneurs' needs to be able to participate maximally for the benefit of food security within the continent? And if you look at the market actors, for example, if you can take financial institutions as a good example, how prepared are they to respond to the needs or to the financial needs? Do they even have financial instruments that better serve young women agripreneurs. Again, just appreciating the unique challenges that some of them may not have accumulated assets that are actually required or financial institutions expect them to have for them to really garner or attract resources towards their businesses. But even the market, those who are playing key roles or the buyers, do they appreciate that the young women agripreneurs may need their capacities to be built around what are the key quality standards, what are the quantities that are needed, what are the, what are some of the market opportunities that the young women can respond to those particular needs. So there is just a lot in the ecosystem that we must appreciate that will have to be addressed for young women to really participate maximally within the ecosystem or within the food system. But there is also the bigger giant, and was that Yakmila who mentioned she's supporting the policy work around supporting women agribusinesses and the like. I mean, policy, we must appreciate that it plays a bigger role or anyone to really excel in the agribusiness venture. So looking at even the government's capacity, do they have, first of all, do they even have those policy instruments that are responsive to the women enterprises, especially the young women enterprises, or are they blind to them even as they develop the policies? But also looking at their capacity to be able to implement in cases where these policies are available. Do the government institutions have the capacity to be able to implement some of these beautifully coined policy rules, instruments that they have actually put in place to support the women enterprises? Or are they even committed in the first place in terms of budgetary allocation, staff allocation, to be able to address the various needs that are very unique to the young women's enterprises? So Agra, just mentioning briefly some of the resources or assets that Agra actually have in place to support, especially the young women agri enterprises. Of course, there are several assets we have in place, but one that I will zoom into is the Value for Her platform. Just shortly, but we also have Generation Africa, which is hosting us, has several platforms that are supporting women agri businesses. But we also have Kala, which is a leadership forum for agripreneurs who are either senior or upcoming within the continent. We also have the Deal Room, where the agripreneurs are able to pitch their businesses and be able to attract investments that they need or that their businesses actually require, and many more. But allow me to zoom into the Value for Her platform, which the team tasked me into kind of highlighting or spotlighting for today's conversation. Some of you must have come across the initiative. Some of you might have not, so I will not assume that all of us already know what Value for Her is. But Value for Her, for your information, is Agra's continental initiative that is meant to address the gendered market entry barriers for women enterprises. And the young women enterprises are all included there. It's at the center. As I did mention earlier, that young women excite me because they're the face of agribusiness now and even tomorrow. If we can have majority of them joining, Africa will just be a very nice place to really be. And so Value for Her, for this year, Agra has actually invested in redefining its business case to really look at what it can offer in terms of services that will promote the agribusinesses within the continent. And specifically, we are looking at women and the young women being at the center of it. So allow me to just project shortly something. The host will have to allow me to share, but it's okay. I can't just talk through it then. So there are certain things that have actually come forward in that process of redefining the business case for Value for Her. One is that the Value for Her will be an aggregator of several platforms, several service providers or actors that have the interest of supporting young and mature women agribusinesses within the continent. But then not only within the continent, these will also be operational at country levels. So there will be offerings that will be more so at the country level, but there are those that will be specifically at the continental level. So the first core objective of that particular initiative is really to match make the agribusinesses with the service providers. So again, looking at the kind of services, attaching it to the challenges that I was mentioning earlier: access to finance, access to technology, access to information, and just the network opportunity. Again, looking at both the individual agribusinesses, what kind of support will be relevant for them to be able to kind of pull them towards pull them towards accessing or being able to access those services that they really require: finance, market, knowledge, technology, and the like. But the other core objective would be around market linkages. So more of facilitating the buyer-seller connections. Again, that will also entail dissemination or linking of women agribusinesses to the market information that are available within the platform, and also as the women interact either physically or virtually. But then the third objective or strategic objective for this particular initiative will be around shaping the policy and advocating for women agripreneurs, acknowledging that there is that power in collective action through women voices, as we provide that space where women can come together to really raise issues that are key to them, that they want to be addressed in terms of the policy. But then interesting, or some of you probably have also seen some of the things that we have done in the past in terms of even spotlighting the women entrepreneurs who are doing so well in this space. And why is that very important to spotlight women who are already excelling in that particular space? The importance of that is to inspire more women towards advancing or towards starting or just getting into the agribusiness space. And those has been done through talk corners. We've had cases where we are having somebody, a young woman entrepreneur, for example, who has gone through a journey that is worth learning from, sharing and narrating their stories, their challenges, how they overcame it, and just inspiring their colleagues or their peers towards the same. So those who are facing similar challenges at least already can learn from the rest, or can learn from such stories that are being shared. But we've also had initiatives as award. We recently had Women Agripreneur of the Year award, where the women who are excelling and doing exemplarily well in agribusinesses are actually awarded through grants. And these grants normally are either repatriated back into their businesses. So it's one way of also getting grants for their business. But we've also had actually used to support other women to really be able to catch up and get participating within the agribusiness, and so many other things that the Value for Her platform can actually offer, including providing that on the website, on that particular site, where women can get and know opportunities that are available, but also that networking space. We've had connections getting built through that particular space, and we expect more connections to really happen within that particular space, even as they mentor, nurture, and also just overall inspire each other. We need more young women within the agribusiness space, but it's also an opportunity for the governments really to get that space of interacting with specifically young women agripreneurs and also older women agripreneurs within that particular platform. So that's it. I believe that is brief that I can give about Value for Her and how it is responding in terms of supporting young women agripreneurs in excelling. But there is much more that you can learn about it through our Agra website, and also if you log into the Value for Her extra time. Thank you very much, and back to Marietta.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. Thank you for your insightful input and for the great work you're doing with Value for Her, for the implementation of the policies and empowering the women around. That's amazing.
So all your comments here, we've been reading them and we'll be calling you up to speak. We do have Miss Barbara Chivandire on the call. She works with High Life Foundation, and I know she's very passionate about ladies, about youth, young women, and she's a good example of Hamis said that she wants to see more women investors, other women building into other women. And when I see Barbara, she is one of those women feeding, growing, nurturing other women. And so, Barbara, over to you, please.
Thanks so much, Amanda. Always great to see you. Thanks, Henry and Dixon. It's good, being in touch. So thank you for this forum. I wasn't aware of it. My boss actually just got myself and our Chief Finance Officer in High Life Foundation is here with me. Her name is Patience Mkizwa. She's here somewhere. So we were basically told to join the discussion that's going on here. So I'm really passionate. What we do as High Life Foundation is we are a philanthropy that's been there over 25 years now. In fact, this is the 26th year. And for the longest time, what we were about was looking after, we were in the area of education, and we were really looking to educate the orphaned children. Hi, Norma. It's good to see you here. I'm glad. Okay, so Norma is here. That's our leading young female entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe. We're ever so proud of her. I follow her all the time just to see the kind of barriers she's being able to break. So yes, so education is one of the things we do. But recently, just over 2 years ago, we then decided that the orphan children we are educating and on scholarship and so forth come from communities. 80% of them are rural anyway. The students that we've had, we've taken through over 350,000 children from school, to school in scholarships over the last 25 years. And so we realized that we needed to create some kind of, to catalyze some change in the communities initially, that by giving them an education, we were not actually, it didn't follow that they would therefore have sustainable livelihoods, because economies with the degrees, but doing nothing. And there's been a narrative against agriculture anyway, because if you notice that most of our children, like we found with most of our children, are in rural areas and they want to escape the rural area as soon as they are done with school, because that's does have the asset that and just changing the narrative around in universities and vocational centers. And for us, the drive has been to catch them young and start changing that narrative and allowing them to see that entire agricultural value chain and see that primary production is not the only agriculture that there is. Wealth creation possible, that they can actually be turned into agripreneurs, as you call them. We are looking to raise a generation or a movement of what we're calling green entrepreneurs. So we really, pushing that brand out so that people can understand that the youth that is sitting, particularly the girl child, because that's most of them, the workers in terms of the workers of our land in Africa are women. The only problem is that they don't see what they do as a business, a form of contributing to GDPs of their nations, because they're viewed as the idea is to transform that whole thinking, but also to be able to showcase success stories of women, of young ladies that are breaking the barriers and venturing into agriculture in a way that that is understood by the 21st child, that would make it attractive for them. So I would tend to agree, with what part of what Evelyn said, is that women, young ladies are fast becoming the face of agriprenneurship in Africa, and we really like to push that. And so we the offerings that I've just heard Evelyn speak to, because it's something that we can then bring on board to our families. The only question I would raise is I love Agra and all, but they're not present in Zimbabwe, and we have such a need. I'm just hoping that at some level we will see you, here, so that some of although the offerings and so forth can be accessed by our young agripreneurs here. But as you can see, we have Noma here, who's they've accessed, I think she was a runner-up at some point at the Agri-Pitch Hack at some point, and we really are pushing that. So this collaboration in this kind of platform is excellent. So that's my 2 cents for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barbara. Your 2 cents is actually a bag full of money. Alumni, please quickly frame your questions, go straight to the point, so that we are able to invigorate other people to discuss. So Alumni Teshale, you can ask your question, and then next up, I will call up Lucy. Lucy Mite, that is. So get ready. I'm not sure if Alumni is still on the call, but in the interest of time, Lucy Mite, yes, you could quickly speak to what you do, and normally so our star lady, would also like to hear from you as well. So Lucy, are you on the call? Lucy Mite. Okay, since we are having our speakers prepare themselves, normally so, are you ready?
Hi everyone. I'm literally on the move, and I didn't know that I was going to be asked to speak, but I'm very happy that we actually have the conversation around how to include women in the agriculture and the food systems conversation. Just a second, I'm on. Yeah, and if we continue doing that, you realize that women are the ones that make the primary decision of even just eating within a home, right? And if they are in control of even just production, that changes communities. And it's unfortunate that it's always been seen as hard labor work that is designed for men, and therefore women shy away from those from that kind of task. I can tell you, as being a farmer for the last 3 years, that it's been an uphill journey, but we are getting there. And thank you so much to everyone who's here for committing to be part of this conversation to change the narrative around women and agriculture.
Thank you, Normaliso. And so there's a question from Barbara about Agra expanding into Zimbabwe. And we have Evelyn Obiero. I think I'll hand that question to you. And there's also a question here on the chat about, whether there's investment for Angola. And so an investment for Angola, and I can quickly answer Bisolela Silva, right? On behalf of Generation Africa. So we are a thematic platform of the AGRF, and we are Africa-wide. We do not have necessarily like country offices, and so our approach looks at the continent as a whole. We are based in Nairobi, Kenya, but we're not limited to our physical location here. So I'll start off with Bisolela, that we do have several programs that we avail. We do have the competitions that we've been running. Normaliso is one of our winners. Hamis, who spoke earlier on, is one of the winners from Pitch AgriHack. And we open these opportunities for all youth participants across the across the continent. For as long as your country is within the African Union states, you are eligible to participate. And actually, one of our top 12 from go-getters was from Angola, a very vibrant young individual called Julio Chilela. And we were with him in Kigali a few weeks ago at the AGRF Summit. So as Generation Africa, we do have opportunities that are not limited to our geographic representation. Our reach covers the continent, and Barbara, I think also part of that can be part of your answer, though you didn't ask about Generation Africa, but Agra specifically, I'll allow Evelyn to comment and also mention some of the interventions in Zimbabwe, either current or futuristic.
All right, thank you very much, Amanda. So responding to Barbara's question around presence in Zimbabwe, I think there are two things. There is the bigger Agra's intervention. I know Agra is currently doing a new strategy to run for the next 5 years. And part of that is also looking at expanding in additional countries beyond the current 11 one. So whether Zimbabwe will fall among those who will be like an extended countries, I may not have a full answer right now. But in terms of certain programs like Value for Her, which I mentioned, is a continental initiative. And so our presence right now, we have participation in over 39 countries and still expanding. So we're really looking forward to expanding to the entire continent. But I know as you heard me talk about the specific offerings of the Value for Her, there are those that are easy actually to cover. The countries where we do not, or Agra does not have like a physical presence. But I know there are those that may require access to finance, for example. If Agra's Value for Her would really want to intervene on access to finance, especially working closely with the financial institutions in Zimbabwe, I know one thing that will be critical is what is the critical mass around membership in Zimbabwe. And so what I would really recommend, especially for Barbara and the team in Zimbabwe, and Norma has been our participant in several, other than Generation Africa, Norma, I see her participate in several other initiatives within Value for Her. So if we could build that critical mass in Zimbabwe, it will be very easy for Value for Her really to pick up on even other offerings that may currently be kind of assigned to countries that we may currently classify them as Tier 1, or I mean, those that have built enough membership. So I think the work is back to you. Can we build that mass, critical mass for Value for Her members in Zimbabwe? Then we will come full blast in Zimbabwe. But in terms of the overall Agra, I may want to postpone that. I may not have an accurate answer. Thank you. And over, Amanda.
Thank you too, Evelyn. And speaking of, reach and coverage and participation, I am extremely proud to see our youth coming in strong. We have Iman. Iman, I really like your innovation. I think I'd like people to just quickly hear about that, and even as a lady from North Africa, what, like, just very briefly, what kind of challenges have you had to overcome or have you overcame, and just how it's been for you as a young woman in the sector, and then after that, we just have a few minutes here, and I can see our alumni came in strong. We have Jolenta, we have Caroline, and of course we need to hear from you, and even how effective we are, because the topic here is how do we empower you, and I'm also curious to know a dangerous question I'd like to ask you. Have you felt support from us as Generation Africa, as a young lady in the industry? So Iman, are you on the call? And if yes, you could briefly just tell us how it is. Okay. As she prepares, if she's still on the call, Caroline.
Hello, Amada, did you hear me?
Oh
Yeah.
yes, there you
I
are.
get
Yes, I can't see you though.
yeah, I get interrupted. Sorry. So thank you for this invitation. Really, it's my pleasure to be with you always. I only heard here the first question is about my challenge in creating my startup. This is the question. Hello, do you hear me?
Yes. Oh, yes. Please go
Yeah.
ahead and answer.
Yeah. To my case, the main challenges that I faced in my startup is when I'm working in using drone of camera that's even visible. The main challenge is to get customer, because this is a really known technology. It is very popular in US, but in Africa it's not very farmer did not know this market. So I get a big effort on introducing this technology to farmers. This is the first challenge. The second challenge is about creating partners, getting customers. The challenge is to they trust the solution, they trust the team knowledge, they trust the team expertise. They really the main challenge is to the sensitivity. I need always to sensitive people relative to using technology in agriculture. I face someone that they say that they are say that I'm so experiment. I had 20 years in I have 20 years in as a farmer, so I didn't need technology, which is not the case, because with the development of agriculture technology, the farmers, in addition to their expertise, he must use technology so that he improve land efficiency. He know his land, and he know many other farmers. He should use decision making tools. This tool that help him to have good decision. This is the main challenge, but I get. I overcome this challenge when I get some references. I said, this is my customer, you can go. Another point, I give free demo. Many of my partners and my customers are get free demos because they go to using technology in agriculture. This is the first challenge. The second challenge is about funding. When you are working in an innovative startup, in idea where is some innovation, you need time to go to the market. You need, for my case, it was 2 years until I get my first customer and I get ready to the market, and I go to the industrialization phase. I get for that 2 years. So in these 2 years, I spent a lot of money. This challenge there is how to finance this phase. phase, and the phase after I get rentable startup, because we have customer now, but we are still non-rentable. We are still need more money to be to get to more scale. This is the second one. The final one is relative to regulations. Another points is some. I didn't say that all farmers. Some farmers don't trust that women provide them agriculture solution. I get some customer. He say, "You are a woman. Why you are here? Go." Really, I get this with one of my customer, but I said that my father, my grandfather are farmers. I born in agriculture family, and I enjoy doing farming, and this is all the challenge that I overcome.
Good, thank you, Iman. And so you brought out the issue of stereotype against women, that ladies cannot do the job because they're
Yes.
women.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and you were able to navigate that by having, customer testimonials.
Yes.
Someone else has entrusted their produce
Yes.
and entrusted their farm into your technology, and also came in. I saw about the age difference aside from the gender. A farmer will say, I've been in the game for 20 years, and here you are,
Yes,
you're
yes.
young. What can you tell me? So I really
Yes.
like that perspective. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Iman.
Thank you.
Is Caroline Kimplanter still on the call? I know you're also one of our top 26 go-getters. And you work with just the vertical gardens and empowering people to produce their own food. And are there any challenges as a lady that you faced? But also a question that I'd asked earlier on, as a beneficiary of Generation Africa, do you feel like we are supporting you well? And how can we best structure ourselves to support young women? Caroline?
Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? I'll be very brief because there's some background noise because of office constructions happening. For your two questions, as a seedlings propagator and as a great supporter of women in agriculture, especially the smallholder farmers and women in arid areas, there are a lot of challenges, but there are also a lot of privileges as well. So we might dwell on the challenges today, but it's also good to appreciate as women, we get to get an upper hand if we know our rightful position and maybe ask for what we deserve. If I may talk about challenges, I might pick the ones that I might relate to at this particular moment. And that is, as a company, we are not at startup, we are at growth stage. So we are looking at a point where we really need to grow our markets and our competitive edge against our big investors who are now competitors in the same industry, selling the same product, targeting the same people. So for me, it is the muscle to be able to have the same edge, to get the same kind of product as our competitors, who are mostly in Kenya, actually people from outside coming to invest in our country heavily. And I have to meet the standard in terms of production quality. And this means we have to improve our technology. We also have to employ very intense marketing strategies so that we are able to reach the same regions as them, or the regions that the demand for our product is, if I may focus on ourselves in that case, and also to meet the expectations that comes with the growth. You see, now once you started the company, it stops being now a ladies' company. People don't look at your product as a ladies' product. You are a woman in these days. You have to be at par in terms of quality and everything else. So to keep up with that, it needs somebody with a lot of courage. And of course, now that brings in the muscle. it brings in the guts and to really understand what you're doing in the industry. And the challenge is just like Imen said, there's a lot of stigma around you being a woman, and people sort of, not everybody, but some people, especially the serious people in the industry now, looking at you in a lesser way. But it's your task, it's your challenge to prove your position and take it up. And I think I do try, and I believe most of the women here really try. And now to go to your question, Amanda, on if we feel supported. Personally, I feel supported, because even information passing is important, even if you don't win. Actually, the win is not in the win-win of the money. The win is the information you're able to accumulate around growing yourself and your company. So I feel totally supported. Yeah, so thank you very much. Of course, we wouldn't mind more inputs from you, but so far so good. We appreciate it. Personally, I am.
Thank you, Caroline. Another of our leading ladies. And so it has been exciting to have this discussion. We could go on and on and on. Unfortunately, we are bound by time, and we are coming dangerously close to the end of our session. And so before we get into the announcement and the vote of thanks and the wrap up, there's a question here from Patience Mutizwa to Imen on how the drone camera works. And then I had, I don't know if Jolenta is still on the call, but then once we take those two from the floor, I will then begin the wrap up. But this has been really, really invigorating. And Caroline, thank you for bringing out that aspect that women, there's so many forces, if I might say, working in our favor. And it's up to us to capitalize and make it work for us. And I also like what you're saying, that it's always so easy to dwell on the problem. Could we talk about what is working? So I really like that, and congratulations. And the hard work that goes into just being an agripreneur, whether you're female or not, you really have to put in the work. You really have to be innovative. You have to market yourself, and you have to do everything else with as much grit and stamina, not because you're a woman, but really because you're competing the same playing field as everybody else. So Jolenta, are you online?
Yes, Amanda. Hi, Amanda. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, talk to us.
Okay. Briefly, my name is Jolenta Joseph. I'm from Sanavita Company Limited in Tanzania. So I'm happy to join this conversation this evening. Thank you, Amanda. I also thank you, Evelyn. I have been listening to you guys. Thank you for such nice programs. I'm one of the beneficiary of Value for Her grant. And this has helped a lot. So before going to that, I can briefly say what we do. So we are in Tanzania, and we are working with smallholder farmers in producing, and then we add value and process biofortified crops. Currently, we are doing 3 crops: orange flesh sweet potatoes, provitamin A maize, and high iron and zinc beans. And we are dedicated to these crops because of addressing the issues of malnutrition, using the staple crops to the people who are in the rural areas. To reach these people, I think it's very important to work with their staple foods, because most of them, they are producing and eating what they are producing. So then adding value so that we reach out people in the midtown and the town areas, so that everyone can have access to safe, diverse, and nutritious food products. So Sanavita, we are also doing awareness creation so that people, they really understand the nutritional benefit of, let's say, vitamin A, which is coming from orange flesh sweet potatoes, and then iron and zinc, which is also coming from biofortified zinc. So coming to Value for Her program, it's a nice program which is like mentoring us a lot of learnings, which is like also boosting the business in terms of the grant. I'm talking of the cash. a lot of learning in all the platforms that Value for Her have. And also Value for Her, another advantage is that like a lot of exposure, you meet a lot of women in different platforms, you discuss the things that is like facing everybody in anywhere you are, and all the challenges that are facing women are almost the same. Successes sharing is helping so that you learn and then you copy and do what is possible in your area. So with that grant, it's helped us first to increase the number of farmers, women farmers. I think everybody knows how it's you enjoy if you work with your women, and then farmers who are producing the orange flesh sweet potato, they are usually women. So we added number of women, and then also we have increased the number of food vendors who are working with us, as we have already product produced from the farmers we have trained, and also we have increased the supply of these products into the market. And we have also now come up with a new product with this grant, because during the COVID-19 there are a lot of the things, challenges, like the prices fluctuation have been high, the prices of the wheat flour is coming very up. So Sanavita, we take the advantage of the grant to have some of the machines that helped us to make a new product that is a bakery product. And then now we are making such a small buns and scones that are in the market, and it is helping people in the rural areas, like affording the healthy bread, small, that is very cheap in the areas. So that's a nice thing. And with Generation Africa,
yes. After you said Generation Africa, I was going to cut you short, but you said the magic words. So yeah, if you could please summarize so that we can be able to wrap up. But yes, tell us about Generation Africa.
With Generation Africa, I participated in the Go-Getters and come up to the top 12. And that was a really nice experience that made me to improve and know how the best pitch like. And now if I'm going to pitch, and my pitch is quietly different, and I had the experience of going to deal room, talking to the investors and all those, that's making like Sanavita to shape its business, what it look like, getting the investment, what you are supposed to do, what documents are supposed to be in place so that you get the funding. So those are the very key important things that make us to be now investor ready, as are learning from Generation Africa programs. Thank you, Amanda. Sorry.
Thank you, Jolenta. I love seeing how energetic you are. You know, you remember we met in Kigali, and oh, this lady fed me. She gave me biscuits. I enjoyed them. The nutritious, and so give her all your points. If you're in Tanzania, be sure to promote her. And this can go on. I am enjoying myself. There's one question from patients, which I don't think we have the time to answer, but I will post the relevant links. Immense solution, we documented it on our website, it's on our press release, and also this is an opportunity for you to have your one-on-one with Iman. So patients, you could reach out to Iman in the chat, and just to thank each and every one of you for your participation. Our youth will come in strong. You're making us proud. All the panelists, Marietta, our co-moderator, thank you very much. And also we have our partners who supported us. You know, thank you, Barbara. I know you put in a lot of work behind the scenes together with us. My colleague Henry, who's the lead for this members group call, Dixon Naftali, our AGRA colleagues. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And before we go, if you would like to be a part of these ongoing discussions, please sign up to our members group. I'll post the the email address there, or my colleague Henry will post it there if you want to be a part of these ongoing discussions. So this is not just a one-off webinar. We keep building on to what we have discussed. Evelyn has posted here the link to the Ruhr Valley for Her platform. We'll also share the Go-Getters community platform link. Please sign up if you are not already. You've seen the kind of or the caliber of youth who are there on that platform, and the kind of people we work with. And next week, one of our colleagues, Sophina Baliri, will be in Ghana and Nigeria as well. And so if you are in those areas, this is your opportunity to meet and greet and plug into some of the work we're doing. Yes, so please feel free to reach out to us. And that, good people, I would like to thank you for your participation, and we are free to drop off. I see there's a question from Imen. 30 seconds
Sorry,
to ask
sorry,
your
5
question,
seconds,
and then yes.
only 5 seconds. I just put my video that described the question of my friend. Then I put the video and my WhatsApp number. Please contact me on this WhatsApp number. We can have one session to describe all solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Imen. Proactivity at its best. And speaking of opportunities, we do have the it's called the Agri-Pitch competition by the African Development Bank that has been launched. So if you are a youth agripreneur on this call, please check out our social media platforms. We posted more about this opportunity, this competition. So please make sure you capitalize on this. And ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. Thank you very much. We are free to drop off. And before you drop off, those who want to share their contacts, please do so in the chat box. We'll allow like 2-3 more minutes of interaction on the chat before we officially end this call. So yes, let's meet on the chat. We exchange our numbers, exchange our email addresses, and share the relevant links. So thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful afternoon.